This one should be the same legal on EDA that we works at that Ray.
Hello, this is Joe from Soffront. Can everyone hear me?
Okay.
Hello, audio check. Can everyone hear me? This is Joe.
Hey, Robert.
Yes, yes.
Okay, beautiful.
32 is actually now.
If I could ask everyone to please be conscious of the background noise because it'll be real hard for me to talk over it. And I'd like to keep it open, so please keep the background noise down. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Minute of earnings. All right. So lots of things to do.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Everyone can hear me. Is that correct?
Okay.
Make sure that's so you should phone calls, emails.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, everyone can hear me. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Let's get started. Please keep the background noise down. Otherwise, I'm going to have to mute everyone, and I really don't want to do that. So with that, let's get started. Thank you for joining the webinar. We're going to do a product overview, and we're also going to talk about the new community user forum that we've just started. It just started yesterday, so I'm pretty excited about that. So with that, let's get started, and if I can ask people to hold their questions to the end, I'd appreciate it. This is going to be a product overview. It's not really intended to be a training class, so if someone needs additional help or training, you can either click on the help button or send me an email or contact me, and I'll take care of that for you. With that being said, let's get started. I have this organized logically on how it starts. And
Is someone carrying on a conversation? Can you mute everybody? Because this is never going to work.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. Okay. I'm sorry I had to mute everybody, but that's the only way this is going to work. Okay. What I said before is that this really is going to be a product overview, and I'll touch on user community, but this is not really intended to be training. If someone needs training, let me know, or click on the help button. You can view our tutorials, video tutorials, user guides, etc. So let's keep it to the product overview. Now, with that being said, I have this set up to be logically on how you would start using Soffront. There will be a little bit of an explanation on almost everything. I'm sorry, but I won't be able to touch on everything because of the amount of features within the program. But I'll touch on the main ones. And like I said, if someone needs supplemental training or information, I'll be more than happy to help them with that. Okay, so when you start with Soffront and log in, this is what we call our home screen. This is what you'll see when you put your username and password. It's divided up into 4 sections. The one that most people, users and action coaches alike, use the least is this silo right here. This is more geared towards service-orientated organizations that have customers that open up trouble tickets against your either website or your portal. And that really hasn't been the case in my experience. So, excuse me, that's the one that I'm going to touch on the least. Now, when you first start out, you're going to have the home screen, and you're not going to have any data in there. So how do we get your data in there? Well, it starts with a couple different ways. The first one is we need to figure out what your data is. Most of the time, 99% of the time, that data comes in the form of a CSV formatted spreadsheet. And what that will look like is it will look like something like this. And you could see the very first column, very first row, sorry, are your headings. So here we have email, first name, last name, etc., all the way down. So what happens is that from there, these fields, these headers, become the custom fields within your Soffront CRM. Now, why is that important? Because every single time that you pull up a lead or customer record, these headings are what you're going to see. So you're going to be able to see every bit of information that's important to you that tells you more about your leads and customers. Okay, now that we've identified the source, how do we get them there? How do we get those those headers into the custom fields? Well, what we do is we go to database, and then from database, we'll click on leads and customers. Now from here, these are the fields of your headers. These are your headers right here, transferred into the CRM. And it's extremely easy to add these fields. Okay? And tailor them however you'd like to see them. If you'd like to see this one up here, because this is what you're going to see when you open up every single lead in customer record. You're going to see this. So now we've taken the headers, and we've built custom fields from that. Okay, now we have that framework set up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to import them. So now we're going to take them from your spreadsheet, and we're going to put them in to the CRM. Very, very easy and simple process. So that's completed by using the import function. Now here we need to tell it a few things. We need to choose our file, and what this will do, it will go look for the file on your hard drive, that CSV file that I was talking about. And then it's going to ask you what kind of group that you want to import them in. Now groups, and I'll touch on groups a little bit later. Groups are logical gatherings of your leads and customers into something meaningful for you. Very often they could be seminar groupings. If you're an action coach and you have a seminar and you invited 25 people to it, a lot of times you will make a group out of those 25 people. And I will show you why that's important later. But these are your groupings. Now, you could put them all, when you're starting off, you could put them all in one group and then separate them later. And that's very, very easy to do, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. Also, you can give them a part of your workflow. Now, workflows are a series of stages and tasks for each stage that you traverse your potential lead to until they become a customer. So, and I'll touch on this also a little bit later. Action coaches, they have a 13-step workflow, and when you log in as an action coach, you will see the 13-step workflow as default. If you are not, then you'll see a defaulted, out-of-the-box kind of workflow that we can tailor and add stages and add tasks to that. I'll illustrate that in a second. So we've chosen our parameters here, and now I want to import. So I'm going to choose a file, and then I'm going to select. So then what happens is now what's going to happen is that it's going to read all of the column headers of your CSV file, and we're going to map them into our CRM. You know, there's different ways you could do that. You can do auto map, and then once you do an auto map, it will look for identical matches. As you can see here, company got filled in. And then from there, you need to go manually and map them to whatever is the right field. Okay. And once you're done, you can save the mapping, call it whatever you want to call it that makes sense to you. Then every time that you want to import, you just simply choose the mapping that you've already saved, and you don't have to go through these steps all again. So in that and of itself, that should take you, depending on the amount of records in your spreadsheet, it should take you 10, 15 minutes for you to set up your fields, for you to map your fields, and for you to import all of your data. That is how simple it is. So now you have all of your information about every lead and customer that you had on various spreadsheets, pieces of paper, business cards, etc. You have all that now in your system. Okay. Now we have our data, we have our leads in there. So now what do? Okay, now we want to start getting to work. So now we have our information in there. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to click on leads and customers. Now, these are our leads and customers. These were all imported from your spreadsheet. Okay? Now, there are certain things you can see from this field. You can see company, sales rep, etc., etc., etc. You can change these around if you'd like. If you don't want to see sales rep, you can get rid of it. If you want to see source before country, you could change that around. If you want to add, you just go down here and add one. Now, as you can see, these here, these fields here are the fields that we created when we made our custom fields. So any custom field that you'd like to see here will need to be part of your database, leads, and customers. So we'll put this here. We'll add one just for the sake of illustration. We're going to have basketball, and I want basketball to show up second. Okay? So now you can see that we have basketball. This is very important because when you pull up this list view, this is called list view, when you pull up this list view, this is what you're going to see every single time. Now, with list view, there are certain things that you can do as a whole that you can't do in detailed view. Let me explain that real quick. You could pick a series of individual leads, and right here are things that you can do for that lead. You can assign it a task, the task name, when it's due by, the status. If you want to get an email reminder, pop-up, description, if you need it to repeat weekly, and who owns it. This owner will default to the login of your system. If you have more than one user on your system, you will be able to see those people listed right here. So you can add a task. I'll talk about C and W in just a second. These are the workflows. Okay, you can assign. You could share these 5 records with somebody. You can assign them to somebody. You could edit them all at once. You can delete them all at once. You can map them. This is a Google map. You can export them to Excel, and of course print them. Now, this is what is called kind of batch editing. So you can use this to do things to multiple records. I didn't touch on groups, so let me touch on groups real quick. If you wanted to put these 5 people into a group, it'd be as simple as doing that. Okay, so we'll choose this one and we'll apply. Now you can see that I'm going to put these 5 records into the group called AOC. Now these are in a group called AOC. So this is the advantage of the list view versus the detailed view. Now let me open up detail view for you. I'm going to click on this one right here. All right, beautiful. This is what I call dashboard. This is what you could see everything that you need to see about this lead. You can see the name, all this information here. You can customize what you see here. Now once again, these are going to be your custom fields. So if you want to see something here, you need to make sure it's added to your custom fields. Okay? So now you can see all this information here. You could view it all at once. You choose. Shows you contact information, custom field, additional information, all the notes that you've had with this person, the history, starting with the latest one first, and the tasks associated with this lead, appointments that you've made, contacts with this, opportunities, cases, attachments, and the group we just put them in. Okay, very, very powerful to see all this information right in one screen. Now, this is your notes. This is to show you the latest activity for this lead. You can add them very easily. You can choose a note type. You can add to this list. If none of them fits your needs, you can add to it. And you save it. Okay, now you can see the type, category, right there, and then there's your notes. Okay, so this is very important because once again, this will give you a snapshot of the latest activity for this lead. Now, also up here, you will see refresh, edit, delete, copy, groups, etc., etc. These are the same things that we saw when we were in list view that were right down here with the little blue icons. These are the same identical things that you can do. However, now instead of doing them to a group of leads, you're doing it individually. So this will only impact this lead right here. Now you see other things on this screen. Okay, this is an appointment. So if you have an appointment with this person, or you need to set an appointment up with this person, this is where you would do it. You would add the appointment. It will move you to your calendar screen, and I wanted to set an appointment for this one. And this is the date and time I chose. If you had more people in your user, you choose them here. Tells you the information. If you wanted to add more information, you can enter it here. Once again, a repeat. Outlook Sync and Google Sync. For those that are not aware, you can sync your Soffront CRM, or your Soffront Action Coach CRM, with Google and with Microsoft Outlook. What that means is that if you put an appointment in Soffront for a lead, then it's going to show up in your Microsoft Outlook calendar, and vice versa. So if you put something in your Microsoft Outlook calendar and that person is a lead in Soffront, it will show up in Soffront. Okay, so we're gonna add this right here. Okay, now you see it show go Christmas shopping tomorrow at 9:30. Now we're gonna go back to the individual record. Okay, so now you can see in the appointment tab how we have it right here that shows that there's an appointment and it's scheduled for this date, start time, right there. Okay, now part of the lead record is also a contact record. Now a contact record is very, very similar to a lead record. It's almost like a sub-record of a lead record, and I don't want to get into the deep weeds with this. There are two important things that you need to remember about a contact record, if nothing else, is that the contact record contains two very, very important pieces of information. And I'll open this up and I'll show you what that is. Okay. The two very important pieces of information are email and email status. Sometimes more importantly, email status. Now, you can see that every single one of them is opted in. Well, why is this important? Okay, I'm sure everyone is aware of the spam rules throughout the world. Everyone has spam rules. So, if you send a broadcast campaign, a touch campaign to somebody, and they choose to unsubscribe, then that contact will automatically change to opted out. What that means is that even if this lead, AFOS Limited, is in a group and you send a broadcast campaign to the group, this person will not receive that broadcast campaign. And the only way to relieve that is to get permission from them and go in here and change this back to opted in. Okay, these are the two very important records that are contained in the contact sub-record. The email address is also very important because when you go to send in an email, or broadcast, or touch campaign, the CRM is going to automatically go to the contact record, this here, and it's going to look for the email address. So these are the two important things. If you do not have an email address in the contact sub-record, it will not be sent. And you'll get an error message saying there's no linked contact email to this record, and it will pop up in a dialog box right in the middle when you go to send it. So that's the important bit about the contact record. Okay, then you can create an opportunity, which is a financial a dollar amount that you think is going to be associated with this lead, and that will give you the ability to do forecasting and show different reports regarding that lead and the opportunity dollar amount that's associated with it. Cases This is what I started talking about in the beginning, when you have people that open up issues to your portal, to your website, things like that. Here at Soffront, we use cases very frequently to manage things like trouble tickets. So when the users call in, then this is how we use them and how we track them. Okay, this is if you have any attachments for this lead, you can add them from your computer or a Dropbox, and then groups. This will show you what group this AFOS Limited is in, right there. Okay, so these are the tabs going across here. I've talked about these. These are the same in the detailed view as we saw up and down here for the list view. Incidentally, when you see this blue pencil, you can edit that on the fly versus having to go into the edit record right here and doing it there. So it gives you a little more speed, a little more flexibility of doing that. So now let's talk about workflow. Okay, as I mentioned, workflow is a series of stages and tasks that you conduct on a lead from the moment you meet them to the moment they become your customer. There are a series of steps. Like as I said, the action coach has a 13th step, and non-action coaches have default, and we can build it as it goes. And I am logged in as a non-action coach. I will be logging in as an action coach in my other test account because I'm going to need to show some things pertinent to action coaches as far as broadcast campaigns and touch campaigns. But for now, we're going to talk about workflow. I'm going to go here and I'm going to click Pick Workflow. Right now, this AFOS Limited is in the sales workflow. Now, here are your statuses. Take a mental picture of lead, research, set phone appointment, 15-day free trial, customer, and contacts. Okay, keep an eye on that. Now, you can see that the status is set phone appointment, and within that status, aka stage, there are these tasks. Well, how do I define these? Where are these? Okay, this is where you define that. Now, this is when it gets really cool. Okay, so I'm going to go down to sales. Now, these, remember I said take that mental picture? There they are right here. Okay, so your first stage in the workflow is the lead stage. Does it have to be? No, it doesn't have to be. Maybe lead doesn't work for you. Maybe prospect works for you. Okay, we'll change it to prospect. Well, maybe in your prospect stage, send proposals doesn't work for you. Instead, what you need to do is you need to conduct research on this company. Okay, well, you're gonna change it to conduct research. You can assign it. Once again, if there were other users on your account, you could assign this task to that person. You can get an email or pop-up reminder. You can schedule it to be due by the first day after you create it or first day after the previous task. Okay. So you could change these as you need. You could move these around. For example, I think I want to do research after I do a phone appointment. Okay, well then you could change it that way. So each stage has tasks associated with it. You can see the 15-day free trial doesn't have a task. I want to add one, and that's how you do it. Okay, so that is your workflow. Okay, now why is that important? Let's go back to this here. Okay, now I have these pending tasks here. Why do I have these pending tasks here? Because I am in the set phone appointment stage. And if we go back and we look at the set phone appointment in our workflow, we will see that these are the tasks that we need to conduct for this stage, for this AFOS Limited. Now, I've completed this task, so I'm going to click on a check mark. And I've completed this task. I'm going to click on the check mark. All right, so now I've completed all those tasks. Now I want to convert, very important word to remember, I want to convert this contact to the next stage of the workflow because I've completed these tasks already. This person doesn't need to be here anymore. We need to get them up and we need to get them closer to closing the deal. So what we'll do is we'll convert this person to the next stage. And I'll keep an eye on the right-hand part of your screen when I convert to the 15-day free trial. There's nothing there. Why isn't there anything there? Because when we went to our workflow, the 15-day free trial didn't have any tasks. So for this purpose, let's go ahead and convert them to customers. So let's go back here, and we're going to convert this one to customer. Pay attention to the right-hand side of your screen. And then I'm going to apply. There, see, there it is. So now this is a task that you need to do for this lead right here. Beauty of this is when you open up this lead, you see everything. You'll see the information, the notes, the latest of the account. You will see the pending tasks. You'll see now that this is all blue. All of these are blue. So this is pretty good because we're getting it going. We got the lead, the research, set a phone appointment, 15-day free trial, and customer. Excuse me. Okay, so now we see this task. Now, do I have to open up every record to see my tasks? Well, that's kind of cumbersome. No, you don't. Okay. So every morning, hold on a second. Okay, sorry. So every time that you open up this system, your CRM, and you want to see all the tasks that you need to do, they're right here. And it's as simple as clicking on if you've completed them, you click on the check. It shows you how many are overdue, how many are due today, and how many are upcoming. You can also, if you have more than users, you can see all the tasks for them as well. So this is a really cool screen because it gives you a snapshot of the things you need to do for every single lead customer every single day. It'll show you the appointments, it'll show you your pending tasks, and it will show you your completed tasks. Okay, that is the beauty of the workflow. So it really helps you make sure that nothing slips through the cracks as far as your leads and customers go and the things that you need to do for them, with them, to close the deal. So that's the important part about the workflow. And like I said, you can get a snapshot of that every single time you come in here. You can get a snapshot of all of your pending tasks, completed tasks, and appointments. Okay. Now, we've tied that all in. So I've showed you how easy it is to import your data. I've showed you how incredibly important and valuable it is to see all that information in the dashboard screen. And then now I'm going to show you, now that we have this information in, we have our backbone set up, so to speak. Now let's get into doing things. Okay, let's do some things with these leads and customers. If you're like me, when I get a new program like this, I want to send stuff. I want to start sending emails. I want to start sending pictures. I want to start sending broadcast campaigns. All right, let's get into this. How do we do this, and what does it look like? Now, once again, each one of these things that I'm explaining to you, A, has a knowledge base article. B, has a video tutorial that you'll be able to see that goes way further in depth than what I'm going to do on this webinar. So there is supplemental information, and as I said when I began, that if you need additional assistance, you can call me, and everything will, and I'll take care of making sure that you understand that. So with that being said, let me show you the sales templates. I'm going to ask you to hold on a second because my computer is acting up. Hang on a minute. Okay, I apologize for that. Okay, now let's get into sending stuff. How do we do that? Let's go back to our home page. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at the sales templates. Sales templates are what you can create, which is beautiful. It's what you can create to send to all of your leads and customers. Let me show you how simple this is. Okay, now I have some here, but for this exercise and to show you the ease of doing this, I'm going to click on the add button and we're going to create one. Okay, we're going to name it Happy Holidays. Now, right here is a personalized button. So what you can do is in your subject line, you can put the first name. So what this will do is that in your subject line, it'll say Happy Holidays, Tim. Happy Holidays, Elsa. Happy Holidays, Angela. Any name that you need to do, you can put it right here. Okay, or you could put first name, you can put last name, company, however you want to do it. Okay. All right. So now we have some basic formatting, icons, formatting buttons, and we also have some things that we can use to insert pictures and other things. Let's start with the pictures. Okay, we're going to insert an icon. I mean a picture. You can change the size of this. Okay, pretty cool. So right now, this is the email that you're going to send out. It has your logo in there. Now, if you are an action coach and you click here and browse the server, you will see under stock images, you will see oodles and oodles of action coach templates specifically designed for you. In this case, we have these classifications of stock images that we can use if we need to. Okay, you can add them if you find something on the internet or something that you think would be valuable. You can add it. Try to make them a PNG file, and then you'll be able to use them in your template. What I'm going to do here, because I promised I was going to do it, is that I'm going to go in and log in as an action coach. Please bear with me. Okay, everything's the same. You'll be able to see your action coach icon up here. And then when I go to sales template and I want to create one, same rules apply. Name, now this is what I wanted to show you. All right, all of these action coach templates that you can insert. All right? So, for action coaches, there's a lot of possibilities of what you could do, okay? Okay, so this is my template. Okay, and we can change the fonts. We can make them bigger. We can make them smaller. Okay. Different ones. You can bold them, italicize them, all that things. Now, another very important thing that you can do within your sales template is this icon right here. This applies to everybody. Applies to everyone, not just action coaches. This link right here. So what you could do is and then click on there, highlight this, insert a link, and then you can go to your website. Okay. So notice it doesn't say www.http:// It doesn't say any of that. It says check out my homepage. So then when you're done with this and you send it, this will be able to click on as a URL, and it will send them directly to your homepage. It will send them directly to wherever you want to send them, as long as it's a working URL and there's something behind it. Okay. Now, with that being said, let me show you how this works and how we use this. Okay. So I'm going to save this one. Now, you'll see I have a couple buttons up here. I could preview it. I could copy it in case I want to use it again and just alter a few things. Maybe you don't want to put this URL in there instead of having to recreate the whole thing. Save it. Test it. Test is pretty cool because you could send yourself an email of what this is going to look like. So before you go to send it, if you wanted to double check, it's a good way of doing it. All right, so you would put your email address in there. Now I'm going to save this. Okay, now I saved it. It's called Test Coach. Now, what do I do with it? Okay, I created this beautiful, gorgeous template. Now what? All right, so I'm going to go here. I want to pull up my leads and customers. Now, once again, I'm in Action Coach land, so I have just a few here, but just for illustration, I'm going to click here, click the email address. It comes up. Now, what I want to do is I want to put a template in there. Okay, so what we did was a sales template. There it is. Bam. You could do some last minute editing if you need to. And then what you're going to do is you're going to send it. Your email's been sent. So that person is going to get this sales template. Now the beauty of this is every single email you have that you want to send out, you don't have to recreate the wheel. You just you send the sales template. And because the personalization is going to go to the contact record, it's going to draw the first name, so you don't even have to change that. It's going to draw the first name or whatever you put in there, last name, company name. It's going to draw that. So that is how simple it is to send an email with a customizable template that you just made to your leads and customers. Once you design the template, it's a few clicks away from sending that out. Okay, that's really powerful. Now we've got that done. Now let's talk about taking it a step further. Incidentally, every time you send this sales template out, it will be recorded in the notes section of every lead to remind you that you did send this to that person. So that's another really cool thing that you'll be able to see. Why? Oh, I already sent this email. I don't want to have to send them another one. That's embarrassing. Okay, now we want to start talking about broadcast and touch campaigns. Before we do that, we need to set up a marketing template. Now, this is going to look real familiar because the marketing templates are very similar to setting up a sales template. Right here, because I am logged in as an Action Coach, I see some Action Coach templates right here. Okay, now if you're not an Action Coach, you will see more templates, but without the Action Coach symbols and things on them. You'll just see your own templates. Okay, so these are categories. It's important to realize that because when you're going to go look for them, that is where you're going to find them. So let's use this one. We're going to use this design now. It's very easy to edit these because it's a header image. You can edit it by clicking on the pencil. This looks familiar, doesn't it? There you go. You can put your link in there again if you want to put a link in a broadcast campaign, in a marketing template. That you're going to use in a broadcast campaign. You can do that right here. Okay, picture, insert it. Okay, you could change colors. You could change fonts, however you want to do it. Okay, these are broken up into article headings. So if you see article heading here, you go to article heading here. You can see the text. If you don't want this text, if you don't want it to be blue and you want it to be red, well, then you can do that. How easy that was. You can put whatever verbiage you want down here. Okay, you can put, okay, check out this link, highlight it, link it, bam. Okay, so when you get ready to send this, this will be a real live link that they will be able to click on and go and it will send them to wherever you'd like to send them. Okay, I created this template and we're going to call it Coach Test. We're going to save it. Okay, once again, the same 4 buttons show up. Save, copy, test, preview. Test, if you want to test it before it goes out, that's how you do it. So now we've created our marketing template. Very first step to a broadcast and touch campaign is creating your marketing template. You only have to do it once, so you don't have to keep doing this every single time you want to do it. You can just use the same one over and over again. So now I want to send my broadcast campaign. Man, new one. Now, this is where you would name your broadcast campaign. Now, earlier in the conversation, I talked about groups. Now, for the illustration I used, if you have if you are an action coach and you have a seminar coming up on the 15th of December, and you've created a group called 15th of December Seminar, then you could choose this group right here and send it to them. Okay, and they will get it. It's from you. It's from this email address. This is your logon, and this is the template we just created. Now, if you wanted to choose a different template, of course, you'd have to go to the category, pick one, select it. Okay. Personalize, same thing like last time with the sales template. You could give it a first name. You don't have to type it in. Editing, same edit features you had before. Okay. Click on the pencil, brings up your edit mode. Insert a link. Bam. Okay. I'm going to save this. Now watch what happens. I saved it. Now we have some choices. We could schedule it for a later date. You know, my seminar, my Action Coach seminar is on the 15th. I think if I send it 10 days ahead of time, that's too far away. I'm going to send it. I'm going to send it a week before. Okay. Now you can see that it's scheduled to be sent on this date right here and this time. After it's been sent, you'll be able to tell some really cool things. You could click on results. Of course, we don't see anything here because it wasn't sent yet. But once it's sent and you see this report, you will see 6 boxes. And in those 6 boxes, you'll see sent, opened, clicked, unsubscribed, bounced, and dropped. Bounced and dropped are indicative of either a bad email address, a network issue, some firewall issues, etc. Opened and clicked. Who opened your email? If you had a link in there, who clicked on it, etc. Very important to remember the link issue, because I'm going to show you something in just a minute. So that's your report, and you should analyze these. You should see you get information about them. Don't just open them and say, hey, oh wow, that's really cool. You know, I sent it to 300 people and 200 opened it and 175 clicked on it. Well, if they clicked on it, then you might want to do something. You know, they clicked on it. Now you want to do something with it. Okay, what are we going to do with it? Let's go back to our home screen. When we created our broadcast campaign, we had the option of giving it a I'm sorry. Well, let's do this in touch campaigns. It'll make more sense. Okay, touch campaigns. Touch campaigns are just like broadcast campaigns, except what touch campaigns do, it allows you to send a series of templates, a series of marketing templates in intervals that you choose. You can have as many templates as you want. I always like the illustration of this. Is one of our users is a health food company, and they have a touch campaign, which is 7 days of healthy eating. So what they do is they have a healthy recipe going out every day in a daily interval. Now, it doesn't have to be a daily interval. You could change this to go 3 days. So after message 1, your next message will be sent out in 3 days. Then message 3 will be sent out in 2 days after message 2. That's not after, it's not from the beginning, after the previous message. All of these things apply, okay? Same things apply just like we set up in the broadcast. The groups, let's use our groups. Start date now, and then we're going to save it. Oops, sorry. A message here. And show you how simple it is to delete these as well. Because what the system told me is that I'm going to send it. It wants to send out messages, but there's nothing there. So we'll put something in there. Okay. Now we're going to save it. Okay. We see the same things here. Save, copy, test, execute. However, here's your results, and here's execute. Okay. Now, within your touch campaigns and your broadcast campaigns, you have something that's called rules. Okay. Now, what rules do is rules allow you to set certain parameters that if this link is clicked, put it into a different group. If this link is clicked, notify the user. If this link is clicked, create a task. You could do whatever, we could create any kind of situation if a link is clicked. Very, very powerful, because if they're clicking on the link, there's some sort of interest there, and you need to do something about that. Okay, so that's what is called campaign rules that are available for every broadcast and every touch campaign that you send. Okay, now here you can see your reports. This is what I was telling you that it would look like. Sent, open, clicked, bounce, unsubscribe, spam, drop. You can click on either one of any number here to get further information of who was in that box. Okay. I'm going to close some of these tabs up here. Currently, you can only have 18 open, and then you'll get a nice little pop-up that says you have too many tabs open, and you're like, what? So just be cognizant of the fact. Now, I know we're winding down. I want to leave some time for questions, but before I do that, I want to touch on reports. There's 5 kinds of reports currently available for action coaches. There's 4 currently available if you are not an action coach, and the one you will not see if you're an action coach is the 5-way reports. Okay, that's specific to the action coaches. Now, let me touch on these really, really quickly. The activity report is just that, by note type. So when we went back and we created, we looked at our leads and customers, and something happened, whether we left a voicemail or whether or not we spoke, or whatever, that will show up here of the activity for today or for any kind of period of time. And you can also customize your period of time. If you had more than one user, you will see that here as well. Okay. Now, you could see all of your different activities here, and if you click on them, it will take you to whoever it was that the activity was for. Okay. The next report that we have is conversion report. Now, conversion, earlier I said with your workflow, I said convert from one stage to the other, to the next. It's very important, very powerful to see how many of your leads were converted from one stage to the other. You'd want to see this filled up. Once again, this is my test account, so I don't have a lot of data here. But you'd want to see this filled up. You'd want to see whatever your goal is per day, per week, per month, how many were converted from one stage to the other. It's a really good indication of how you're doing. How's your progression? That you're touching these customers, that you're utilizing the workflow and completing the tasks that are needed to go from the time you meet them to the time you close them. Okay? Pipeline and forecast reports are used when you have your opportunities and you have dollar amounts associated with those opportunities. And there's an in-depth webinar, an in-depth video on this. So I'm not going to, it'll take too much time to talk about this. So those are your reports. Right here, the last thing I want to talk about in the marketing is your web forms. What web forms are is that you can create a web form and put it on your website. So if someone you put the web form on your website, and then it's on your website, people are going through your website, and they click, for example, your web form would say, click here if you want to get the 15-page why you need an action coach report. They're going to click there, and then what's going to happen is because they click there, then all of that information is then going to be stored in that record that customer is interested in. Okay, that happened for that customer. So if AFOS clicked on something on your website and all that, and they filled out that information, it's all going to transfer back to your leads and customers for AFOS. And so when you open that up, you'll be able to see it. Okay, and once again, this is a overview. So there's videos on web forms, there's tutorials on web forms, and you get all the information you need on that. Okay, wrapping it up, I want to touch on users and security levels. We have 6 security levels. They allow you to do or not do certain things. Admin is the king and or queen of the mountain. This allows you to do everything. You can see everything is available for you. That doesn't mean you can't change it. If you want to disallow something, this is the way you do it. Conversely, all of the other ones have things you can and cannot do. Okay, that's security levels. It's important if you have new people aboard and you're afraid that they might delete something or send something out that you don't want them to. This is how you prevent that from happening. And then the last thing I want to touch on is all settings. This is like a housekeeping kind of a tab. It shows you users and security. It shows you your groups, your marketing templates. As I said in the beginning, there are places that you would do these things that make more sense than doing them from here. But this is just like a catch-all for different things that you'll be able to do. Okay, so that is the product overview. The last thing that I want to show you, but before I open it up for a few questions, is the help button. Okay, now I told you in the beginning that we just started the support forum. So what this is, it's going to be a community forum. So when you have questions or you have answers, you can help your fellow user out by going to the community forum and posting your question. Or if you're in there and you see a question, it's like, wow, you know, I just figured that out. I know the answer. Let me help this person out. And you can put that information in there as well. So very, very excited. As I said, we just started it. And so right now we have only a couple in there, but this is going to grow really, really quick. So take advantage of that. Also, of course, for those that are not aware, here's our knowledge base. Here's articles, videos, etc. User guide, all the different subjects that you need, web forms, how to set them up, more and more information about web forms, and then contact support. Now, I don't want you to think when you contact support, don't think of it as always a negative thing. You would be surprised, or maybe not, on how many people have suggested different things for our program that we've implemented. I mean, I can't tell you. There's got to be over 50 in at least just 11 months of various complexities. We have one action coach in Wisconsin who just gave us 8 really, really good suggestions, and we conducted a feasibility study, and we've decided that all of them were really, really valuable, and we are going to be implementing every single one of them. So don't think of this as it's a bad thing. I mean, of course, if you have an issue and you think something's broken, please, 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 fill out this form. It'll get to technical support department. It'll get to my team, and we'll act on them. Of course, you can always call the technical support number and get support that way. So that's the last thing I wanted to touch on. Now I'm going to go here and unmute everybody so we can start asking questions. Hang on a second. Okay, I think I've unmuted everybody. What kind of questions do we have that I can help you with?
This is Ross Coxon.
Hi, Ross. How you doing?
Good, North Carolina, and I'm just a beginner. I haven't even started loading anything yet. But I'm gonna have this need to load from different sources. From different CSV.
Okay.
Well, is it going to allow me to enter duplicate entries, or have I got to go through and sort out any possible duplicates before I even try to load?
That's a very good question, Ross. And let me show you what happens when you go to import. And I neglected to show you that, and I thank you for bringing it up. When we go to import, okay, and we're going to choose our group, okay, and then we're going to do our mapping, okay. Oh gosh, hang on a second. Okay, now, very good question. When you go to import, then what you'll do is once you have all your information figured out, you have your group picked, you have your workflow, and you select, and then it's going to pull up the different things of your spreadsheet as I showed you before, and then right down here is what you were talking about, sir. So this is what we recommend being checked for duplicates. If duplicates are found, do not import. And Ross, what happens is it will first go and look at company name. Okay, once it finds a company name, then if it's the same company name, then it's going to look for email address. If it sees a different email address, then it will not be a duplicate. If it sees the same email address, then it will be a duplicate, and it'll ignore it and it will not import it.
If one file has more information than the other, will it load the additional information?
No, it won't, Ross. It will not, because if the company's name's the same and the email address is the same, then it won't. Now, however, there is a feature that if you do enter a duplicate situation, and we recommend that you don't, and we recommend that you clean it up as best as you can, but if you don't, then what you could do is you could do what's called a merge. So you can merge two records together, and then once you do that, you can delete the duplicate. But it's my recommendation when people are starting out to come with clean data. Have clean data. I know we have an action coach, John Chavez, and him and I have been working together, and he's great to work with. And he finally made the decision, you know what, I agree with you, Joe. Let me take some time and let me get this spreadsheet together so it's clean. So we're starting with clean data, and I know that when I put my stick in the mud, it's going to be clean and I won't have any issues.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Good question. Thank you. All right, what else we got? Any other questions?
So yes, if you can notify Outlook on a calendar basis, can it go?
Oh, you broke up. If you go to Outlook on a calendar basis, can it what?
How about can you go, will it go out to the iPhone calendar?
iPhone. Who's asking this question?
Rick Williams?
Rick? I believe it will, but let me get back to you on that. I will. I'll send you an email and let you know.
Okay.
And
this can be accessed on the iPhone also.
Yes. You can access this program on iPhone and Android.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll follow up. You'll get that within the next half hour.
Question.
Yeah.
Once a database is set up, can we add or remove fields later?
Absolutely. And you can add them. For example, let's check that out. Okay, here's my database. Okay, I'm completed it, right? I've saved it. I'm completed it. You know what? I really need to add. I really need to add a field. Okay. Okay, just like that. Now, another thing that you could do that I didn't mention is when you add a field, if you know that this field's going to have 5 things and only 5 things, and they will never change or very rarely change, then you can make that field a list field. Okay, and then what you could do is you can put your 5 things right in here. Okay, and so then when you go to that field, you can just click a drop down and select whatever you're going to need. So that's another thing you could do. Good question.
The question is, after the database has been loaded, you still can change the fields, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Tim. So I asked it in the questions box, but it's if you schedule to send us to a group, does it automatically pick up new additions that are added between creation and scheduled delivery time?
Yes, it is, Tim. That's a great question. Yeah, it does. And also, for example, yes, and it will, like, for example, if you have a touch campaign running and you add someone and your touch campaign for everyone else is in the 4th message, then, Tim, what it'll do, it'll send that new person in that group message 1. Okay, and then it'll keep sending it to them until that's over. And then another thing that to dovetail off that question, if you have a touch campaign running and you see that someone clicked a URL or clicked on something within your touch campaign, and say for example, the touch campaign was they clicked to say that they're as a response to your seminar that you're going to have. If they click that, you can put them into another group automatically. And you can even have a touch campaign running for that additional group, and then they'll stop getting that touch campaign for your seminar, and then they'll start getting another touch campaign with directions, times, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's another really cool thing you can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Tarek. Another question.
Hey Tarek, how are you?
So the touch campaigns can start from a web form.
The touch campaigns start from the touch campaign form. They would start from right there. That's where your touch campaigns start, and this is where you would add them.
What did you say you want to?
Right there.
When you go back.
So that's how you start your touch campaign, and this is how you add your additional messages.
I understand that. My question is getting a user to opt in from a web form, and then it can start sending him the messages, right?
Right.
Touch campaign messages.
Right. And this was Tarek, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Tarek. Yeah, absolutely. And when we do our one-on-one training, I'll make this blatantly obvious to you.
A business course?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
High school?
Thanks.
No problem. Thank you. All right, folks. There's no any other questions, then I'm sorry we ran 5 minutes over, but there were some good questions, and I told you we had a lot of information to cover. Almost everyone has my contact information. If you don't, it's joe.hof as in Frank, M-A-N, @soffront.com. Feel free to send me an email if you have concerns, suggestions, need help, and you can't find it in our help screen or the community forum. Feel free to fire it up, and then I'll take care of you. So with that being said, I'm going to give everyone a piece of their Friday back. Thank you very much for your interest, and stay tuned for the next week's topic of the next webinar and the next topic for next week. Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Joe. Bye.
Thank you.